The meeting was supposed to be quick. Jerry told himself that at least 5 times on his way in. Just a quick in and out, he muttered, checking the clock. 3 hours of driving after this, maybe more if traffic acted up. But he needed the gig, and apparently, the girls needed a roadie. What meeting? He'd asked when the text came in. The reply was a single line, "We'll explain when you get here." Now, standing in a half-lit room that smelled like beer and cheap perfume, Jerry was starting to regret it. "You got a 3-hour drive after this quick meeting," said the guy in charge, some manager with slick hair and a coffee stain on his shirt. "You sure you're up for that?" "I need a roadie," Jerry said, almost defensive. The manager smirked. "You ladies are, how should I put this? A lot to handle. You could use some help."
From the back of the room came a voice.
"Can we eat him?"
Jerry blinked.
The manager laughed like it was a joke, but the woman who said it didn't even smile. She had sharp cheekbones, black lipstick, and eyes that looked like she'd already made up her mind about killing him. "No, you cannot eat him," the manager said, still laughing but shifting in his chair.
Jerry, meet the band.
3 women sat sprawled across the couch like they owned the place. One drummed her fingers against a beer can, one stared at the ceiling humming something haunting, and the third, the one who wanted to eat him, just smiled. "You think I like cleaning up after all of you alone?" the manager snapped. "Don't tell me you're the expletive guy." Jerry rubbed the back of his neck. Yes, sir." "So, what is the gig?" "Roadie work," the manager said. "You tour with the girls, carry their stuff, and if you're lucky, you might get to tune a guitar once in a while." The woman with black lipstick leaned forward. "If you're unlucky," she said. Jerry didn't answer. He just swallowed hard. "If it ain't Jerry and his the manager's voice trailed off as a burst of music filled the room. One of the girls had plugged in her guitar and was thrashing a riff that didn't belong to any genre Jerry could name. It sounded like metal and mourning and something old, ancient even. The sound hit him like static in his chest. "Morgan!" the manager yelled. She looked up with a half-smile. "What?" "What the expletive, Morgan?" He wanted to meet the band, not lose his hearing.
Morgan shrugged.
"He's still standing, isn't he?" Jerry forced a nervous laugh. "I'm good." "Really?"
Morgan winked.
"See? Tough guy." Outside, rain started to hit the windows like impatient fingers. They hit the road a few hours later. The van was old, painted black, and smelled faintly of gasoline and strawberries. Morgan drove. The girl in the back, Dahlia, slept with her boots on the seat. The third one, Laura, stared out the window, humming that same eerie tune from earlier. Jerry sat in the passenger seat clutching a thermos of bad coffee. "So, how long have you guys been touring?" he asked. Morgan smirked. "Depends on what you mean by long." "Like years." "Centuries," she said. He laughed, thinking it was a joke, but no one else did. They drove in silence for miles until Laura suddenly said, "Stop the van."
Morgan hit the brake. "What the hell, Laura?"
"Look," Laura whispered, pointing through the rain-spotted windshield.
There was a woman walking down the middle of the road, barefoot, covered in blood.
Jerry's stomach dropped. "Jesus. We need to help her." "That," Morgan said slowly, "is probably not a good idea." The woman turned her head toward them. Her face was pale and her mouth hung open, only there was no tongue. "Get out of the expletive van," Morgan ordered. Jerry stared at her. "What? Now?" By the time his boots hit the wet asphalt, the woman had vanished.
No sound, no trace. Just the echo of rain and dishonored beat. Morgan lit a cigarette like nothing happened.
"You've never seen anything like this before," she said. "And I've been alive for 900 years. Jerry stared at her, waiting for the punchline. She didn't blink. "It's a cult," she continued, exhaling smoke. "They serve one purpose, summoning something they call K." Jerry wanted to say something clever or skeptical, but all he managed was a weak, cool. Morgan grinned.
"You're gonna fi reichtin, roadie." The rain fell hard.
Somewhere in the distance, thunder rolled like an old drum. By sunrise, Jerry had convinced himself the woman on the road was a hallucination. Maybe he was tired. Maybe the coffee was spiked. Maybe the girls were just weird. Then he woke up in the van alone. The engine was still running, and the sky was that sick shade of gray that promised more rain. "Morgan," he called out. No answer. He got out and saw footprints, bare ones, leading into the woods. 3 sets. "Great," he muttered. "Perfect first day on the job." He followed the tracks through wet grass until he reached an old church, half buried in fog. Its doors hung open, creaking like old bones.
Inside, the band stood in a circle.
Morgan held a candle. Laura was whispering something too soft to understand. Dahlia's eyes were rolled back white. Guys," Jerry said. Morgan didn't turn. "Stay there."
What is going on?
Laura's voice was almost a hiss. "We're trying to stop it." "Stop what?" "The cult," Morgan said. "They're here." As if on cue, figures emerged from the shadows, people in black robes, faces hidden, murmuring the same words Laura had been whispering. Jerry froze.
What the hell is this?
Morgan tossed him a metal rod. "Noise," she said. "Make some." He caught it awkwardly. "What?" "Hit something. Loud." He slammed the rod against the pew. The sound echoed through the church, sharp and wild. The robed figures flinched. Morgan's candle flared brighter. "You're all just me," one of the figures shouted. "Paws of death." Morgan laughed, low and dangerous. "You wish." Then chaos erupted. Laura screamed something that shook the rafters. Dahlia lunged like an animal. Morgan's guitar appeared out of nowhere, her fingers flying across the strings, each note bursting like lightning. Jerry swung the rod again, half terrified, half exhilarated. By the time it was over, the cultists were gone, vanished into smoke. Morgan dropped her guitar. "Well," she said, brushing dust off her jacket. "That was fun." Jerry leaned against the wall, panting. "You people are insane." "Probably," Morgan said. "But you're still here." He laughed, breathless. "You owe me a raise." "You'll get a paycheck," she said. "Stop the threat at the South now." He frowned. "What does that even mean?" Morgan lit another cigarette. "Means we've got another show tonight." The wind howled through the broken windows. "Dead chicks morgues," Dahlia said, laughing as she wiped blood off her chin. "I'm rolling with it." Jerry shook his head. "You guys really need therapy." "Girl, same," Morgan said, smirking. They walked out of the church as the sky cracked open with thunder. The van waited, humming like it knew what came next as they drove off. Jerry looked back once, watching the church fade into mist. "You know what?" he said. "It's all good. I'll roll with it." Morgan grinned. "Good man." The van disappeared into the rain, and the road stretched ahead like a promise or a curse. Jerry couldn't tell which.